What's up, my precious little pack, and welcome back to VEGA Conflict. I was hoping to have something out on Monday, but I got a bit preoccupied, but better late than never. We have the next ship in-game called the Ogre. It is going to be available in the upcoming event, but let's go ahead and let's take a look at the battleship and give my initial thoughts of it. Now, I don't know the fitting for it. I haven't been on the forums or anything like that. I've been offline doing other stuff as of recently, but I'm back now. Let's go ahead and let's take a look. Fairly straightforward for the battleship. Upgrade over the Paragon, that's no surprise. Almost 3 million in cargo. That's... The ships get heavier and heavier, and yet the game doesn't get any more balanced. So right off the bat, I'm not going to like the ship anyways, just because it's going to take a little while to build. I'm not going to be able to use it right away, but I mean, that's how the game is. I'll just log out as I usually do and wait. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the modifiers. Okay, cruiser damage, Altarian damage, increased range, shield bypass, yeah. And again, I find it very, very hilarious that the development team said that the next faction, the Umbra, wouldn't be a greatly increased step up over the Altarians, and yet they're a direct counter to the Altarians, doing increased damage and stuff like that. And whatever they're thinking going on ahead with the game, I'm with everybody else. The game's dead, and it's been dead. Everyone's just waiting for it to actually die and for them to pull the plug on it. And honestly, I don't want it to have the plug pulled on it just yet, because I want to milk it a little bit more for some more views. Because it is currently still the top viewed anything on my channel. But let's go over the full stats, and I'll give my thoughts about it, as well as its weapons and the new Thunder Thruster, which should all be added with the upcoming event on, I believe, the 6th, unless they've changed it because they've made a mistake, which wouldn't be a surprise at this point, because they are Kixeye. They're like the greatest fail company I've ever seen. Okay. Repair time, 1 hour 14 minutes for 8,895 hit points, so a fairly healthy amount for a high tier ship, but in terms of low tier, that'd be beautiful. However, it's just improperly balanced. Maximum mass, 20,000 tons. Well, 21,000, we'll round it up, so a pretty heavy ship. And even my maximum fleet bay, I wouldn't be able to put 6 of them in the fleet bay, because it would greatly outweigh the fleet bay, which makes no sense that they would make a ship that outweighs it. And are we going to see new upgrades for the fleet bay? Because I'm pretty much done with the game at this point. I'm just doing other stuff, and I can't keep wasting time in game. I wouldn't recommend anyone else do so either. Cargo, 2,929,000. Not bad. Ship speed, 280 meters per second. Turning, 10 degrees per second. Strafe, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, it's superior to the lower tier ships that were all reworked to balance them out. That's not balanced. It kicks out. What happened to the grand rework? I thought it was supposed to balance out all ships. This doesn't look balanced to me. Modifiers. I already talked about everything else. Again, it's a slap to the face for anyone that actually listened to Kixeye. I mean, they lie through their teeth so often that I don't even think that they have teeth. My apologies to Bernie, because you're just caught in the crosshairs because you decided to actually try and help this company, and if I were you, I'd get out of there while I still have a good name. Bloodlust. That is the name of the overdrive for the Ogre Battleship. Let's just take a look at it. Ablation details. Yeah. We already know that. Stacking overdrive bonus. When an enemy ship within range is destroyed, the ship goes into hunting mode, gaining bonus recovery and offensives to cull ships from combat for 15 seconds. 15 seconds by default, that's a bit too long. I'll explain why later. Maximum stacks, 5, and it gets 2% and 20%, so it can get up to 100% increased AoE range and 10% increased damage per second. So it's literally built to kill ships. That's a bit messed up. Now, going back to it being active for 15 seconds, having that damage bonus isn't all that bad, but having it active for so long is, because the longer it's active, and it's going to reset every time a ship dies, which how quickly some ships die in combat, especially summoned ships, it'll be able to effectively rapidly boost itself to its maximum overdrive state and maintain it almost continuously, because it's going to be continuously firing, and most likely, if most people play it the way that I would just throw the battleship right into the center of the enemy fleet and let it just smash out everything around it. And if it has at least 2 ablative armor slots, it's going to be a very, very, very dangerous ship, because the entire time it's doing damage to you, it's going to be recovering health. And if its weapons can pierce, well, you're SOL, because the more damage it's doing you, the more it's keeping itself alive. But that needs to be nerfed very greatly, so I believe it should only be 5 seconds by default, and then be allowed up to 12 seconds when it's a Mark 5. On to the weapons, and remember what I said about Pierce? They don't have it, so you're in luck. That doesn't mean that anybody can't use the other ones. And unlike Nova Cannon and things like that, the Blight variation we can't view right now in the game files because we have to get the parts for it. However, let's go ahead and let's take a look at level 1, level 3, and compare them to the previous weapon, which was the Psy Missile. Nova Missile 1, damage per second 237, mass 1,860, range 2,750, 4,750, so okay range, and it has a 5-degree spread, so it's got very little spread on it, so it's going to hit the vast majority of targets, which means that a certain fitting may be favorable in close quarters combat, and that is the net torpedo mixed with just heavy explosive weapons, and you just slow down everything you possibly can in favor of killing everything you can. Speed 1,900 meters per second. That is a fairly fast missile. Well, both of them were. I don't think missiles should travel that fast. They should travel at least 1,200 meters per second. AoE 450 meters. That mixed with a few of our specials would be a bit broken, but then you take into account the ship's overdrive that's being added to it, just becomes very, very broken. Yeah, I'm not going to be a fan of this ship. I'll still build some because they're going to be broken and overpowered, but I'm not going to be a fan of it. And I still have another race to fit and upgrade before I even start producing them. Okay, in comparison to the Psy Missile, which only goes... Wait a minute. 2, 3... Okay. I was expecting a heavy version of the level 3, and it just occurred to me that it actually went to level 3. Okay, so I should have compared it to level 2. Level 2. It is slightly heavier, does slightly more damage. It's a superior weapon over the predecessor. It also looks beautiful right here. However, that's not how it will look in game, because you can't actually view them in game aside from right here as the blueprint, and they actually don't even need icons from my perspective, because you don't actually see them in the game anymore. Since it was updated from Flash, went over to Unity, they kind of got rid of that, which took away a bit of aesthetic gameplay. And onto the Sunder Thruster, and this I don't quite understand. First, I don't know if the thruster is actually active by default, because it has a damage threshold of 35, so does that mean it activates for a short duration? Or is it active 24/7, as all standard thrusters are, but it just gives addition, and it just reduces blight recovery. I mean, the ablative recovery by a great amount. And I honestly wouldn't be fitting this to my ships, because I'm going to stick with the harmonic. I don't care if it adds weight to the ship. Most of my fittings are built around harmonic technology, because it's just beneficial no matter how you see it. So this may not be used that much by me, and I wouldn't advise anybody else to use it either. Having additional weight from your thrusters is a problem, but reducing the effective amount of recovery is even worse. May only be a little bit, but it's still a problem. And that covers everything. That's it, everybody. I have nothing else to cover as of right now. If you have any additional info... Oh, wait, no, there is actually something else. Later today, the first Ark video to be released in quite a while should come out. Don't expect it, but if it does come out, it means that I actually pushed ahead of time to actually make sure that it was out. But this video for now is all about the Ogre and what I believe is in need of a nerf before it's even added to the game. And I still think that the development team should listen to the player base, and they should listen quite often. However, I actually agree with something somebody said on the forum, and that is that every idea shouldn't be implemented to the game because it would require a lot of coding. And again, remember what I said in the previous video, if you take 2,000 lines of base coding you've already worked on, you add 1,000 lines to that, you have 3,000 total. Something goes wrong between the new coding and the old coding, you have to search between all the coding now to find out where the problem happened at, or just roll back your update back to the 2,000 lines of previous coding, which you should always have a copy of a program so that you can, if you make a mistake, you can always just go back to the previous one and rework it. Kixeye doesn't seem to do that, and it causes a lot of problems. Problems that negatively affect the player base, and there's no compensation for it, even though the player base has put thousands of dollars into a game that is nothing more than pixels on a screen. Alright, everybody. Now that I've got the Ark video out of the way and stuff like that, now I can actually get out of the video. So, if you have any additional information, feel free to share it below. If you like the video, feel free to leave a like. For any reason, whatever it may be. Leave a comment if you just want to say hi. I should have said that before, but whatever. And subscribe for more. And as always, everybody, I'll see you later. Wait, hold up. The tone of that video sounded like I was being very, very negative towards Kixeye. Granted, I was, and you need to actually take a little bit more time and balance your game and actually listen to your player base, but I opened up the time tokens tab and I was surprised by what I saw. Previously, we could only buy up to 36 hours of time tokens because it was 1, 2, 3. Now we get 24 hours worth of 12-hour time tokens. We get 2 of them. So if we carefully produce everything, we can rapidly produce ships even more easily now. However, Kixeye, you still need to deal with the Daily Mission Rework for us. As long as Blood Amber is in such a high requirement, we should always have steady incomes of it if we're playing the game actively. And yes, that will increase your players' activities throughout the day because they'll be able to grind and actually earn something for their time. I know I'd spend more time in game just grinding out missions that I could either skip if I can't do them and pick up resources and stuff like that. But most definitely consider or take the time to deal with the rework, because you said you were going to do it, you should definitely do it, and it's been needed since time tokens were added. Yeah, when time tokens were added, it's been needed since it hit the markets and stuff like that. But good job adding the additional 12-hour. It might not seem like much, but it went from 36 hours to 48 hours of time effectively reduced, 2 days worth of time. That's how it should have been to begin with, and good job. Make sure the market never goes down, so always check your coding as well. Keep up in the game. Do not push yourselves to produce new content faster than you can actually balance it. And yes, you do need to take the time to balance content. Players have been screaming it forever, and it does need to be done. And another grand rebalance is necessary, as far as I see it. But good job with the time tokens. Deal with the daily missions rework so we can get additional blood amber, because it will be necessary as we continue onwards. But back to whatever it was that you were doing, everybody. This was just a side note that came up after the video.